Okay. So, what we're doing is Thursday night screenings for the next 3 weeks. Because we've got, okay, this movie comes out on July 15th, but we got a screening of the Ghostbusters next week on this Thursday. Next week we will have a screening of Star Trek Beyond, and after that we'll have a screening of the Suicide Squad all the way into August, and then continue production on Chimera. Now, yeah. So, Marx Cards has gone on, but I am going to give you a capsule review of Ghostbusters, the 2016 remake from tonight, being not yet midnight. Actually, I was pleasantly surprised with the movie. I wasn't told to say that. We're not Sony guys. We're Disney and Marvel, so we're yeah, as fans. And I was pleasantly surprised with the concept of the Ghostbusters remake. Most of the haters on the internet that were hating the trailers were wrong. The trailers weren't good, but yeah, the trailers were kind of lame. But yeah, the Ghostbusters movie is it's a decent remake of sort of a soft reboot. Marx Cards liked the idea. There were several cameos by the original cast, surviving cast. One of them is dead, and there will probably be spoilers in a later, longer review. But for here, I won't give away too many spoilers. To say the plot of the movie, Genesis, is that they sort of reboot the movie and hit the point for point of the original, and they sort of say, okay, we've got the the scientist who's kicked out of the university. We've got the aggressive sort of overweight lady. We've got we've got a blonde hyperactive sort of Egon type of lady. We got all these, and then we have, of course, the token African American lady who plays somebody with attitude. But since they all have attitude, it kind of works. It reminds me of the cartoon. They very much like the cartoon. Maybe a little bit of Ghostbusters Extreme, but very cartoonish. Kevin Smith had said in his reviews on his website, he's a director, that he's not the director of the movie, but he's a director. He said that he liked it. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not Reckless Eating didn't like it. They're a critic, food review people, but they're food review people. So yeah, there was and it was an interesting question about the picture, because come from a long line of feminists, even male feminists, in our household. What was I going to think of this feminist movie? Was I going to think, oh yeah, awesome, they bashed the dumb men in this, but actually I didn't see a lot of man bashing in it. I mean, yeah, there were nutshot jokes, and there was a fart joke, and the usual stuff, and Hemsworth's character plays this buffoonery sort of guy, and the mayor's a buffoon, and the other ones, but that's kind of what they did in the original one. I mean, Moranis' character was supposed to be a buffoon character in the original. He's the only one that didn't cameo in this. Yeah, so just about everybody cameos in some way. There's Aykroyd is a statue, I think, at one point. There's a or is it Reitman that's a statue, and Aykroyd is the cab driver. Yeah, Bill Murray plays a ghost skeptic in it. I'm not going to give away what happened to him. The post 9/11 stuff is hinted at, but they don't. Yeah, it's like the Ghostbusters, would they discuss terrorism? I don't know. That comes up in the story. I wouldn't say that it's yeah, I wouldn't say that it's bad. It's a good movie. Yeah, so among the critics giving it around 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, yeah, I liked it. I mean, it was, yeah, the first impressions from tonight. Yeah, it's a reboot. If you treat it as a reboot and you say, okay, well, these are just a new cast doing something, that's fine. I was never against women playing the Ghostbusters. I was against, like, why remake something that was already iconic? And I know about Ghostbusters 2 almost ruining the franchise, but they had already had cartoons and other things by then, so yeah, in that video game. But yeah, it didn't really ruin it. It works because they're funny people. They're able to pull this off. Some people are objecting to some of those comedians. I think they're not that funny. They're just sarcastic. But that's the humor that's around now. That's what that is. So I was totally okay with that. They basically become Ghostbusters. They do some of the same things. There's a haunted house at one point. There's a haunted building at one point. There's an evil nerd guy who wants to open a portal to the other world using ley lines. The Ancient Aliens people should love that. And Ghost Hunters people should like that. So they can get into the netherworld, bring ghosts into the netherworld, and then take over someone so that he can be a badass. Because he's a nerd and everyone rejects him. So he's more of a conspiracy theorist, I would say. Or a ghost chaser conspiracy theorist parody guy. I think maybe what the Sony detractors and the director were thinking is they were probably annoyed that the people that were trolling the movie because of the trailers and putting up their videos on their blogs and complaining about it profusely were a lot like that character in the movie. And they were sort of equating the character in the movie to the bloggers, which Sony shouldn't have done because they could give them fodder for their feeding the trolls. Why do that? The guy is technically not like that, and the whole controversy isn't a controversy. It's a good movie. It's decent enough. It's fun. Scary ghost movie. It's not dark, so dark you couldn't take kids to see it. They go through the motions. Yeah, a lot of it gets a little frenzied. I would say the only drawback really is the battle scene near the end where they fight the ghost and the ghost balloons and stuff and the CG ghosts and do like kind of Big Hero 6 crossed with Spider-Man for the ending, sort of. Amazing Spider-Man 2, a little bit. In that they go to a porthole and pull somebody out, or there's a bad guy nerd dude that's being rejected, but he becomes a supervillain. Ooh, like that hasn't been done before. But that, yeah, and the CG fight is not as cool as it could have been. But it's the audience thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a late showing, and yeah, we were not given perks. We weren't given a free ticket or anything like that. So it wasn't like most of those early critics. Yeah, so go see it. I'm not going to give away the whole plot of the movie because I would rather wait about that. So I'm just going to tell you to go and see it in theaters. I'm going to recommend it, and it's not all that. It's not bad. It's very good. So I keep saying that, but but yeah, it's now it's several minutes later, and I'm thinking it still works. It's an entertaining movie. It's actiony. It's somewhat Ghostbusters, but when you consider Ghostbusters was taking from that old earlier Ghost Chasers slash show that no one watched until they reinvented it as an SNL sketch. So yeah, that's fine. So this is this version. They can certainly do other stuff with it later. The controversy seems to also be heightened by Sony, which is known to do that, to sell the movie tickets. They didn't need to, because their movie is actually decent, so they didn't need to do that. Also, the trailer was bad. So if Sony's complaining about it, the trailers were not good. Also, some of the scenes from the trailer are actually in the outtakes at the end of the movie. They're not in the movie, which is interesting. including the bear trap scene. That's not in the movie. That's in the outtakes reel, which is during the end credits. So yes, I won't give away anybody or any plot elements. It does look like they fight a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, but it isn't. The trailer looked like that. The ghost took over a balloon of the Stay Puft. And then there's this weird sort of bad guy that kind of looked like him, but wasn't really. So you'll have to see it and see what that was. It wasn't the Stay Puft guy. That was just a gag. Yeah. Go see Ghostbusters 2016. Yeah, and the blonde lady is hilarious. Kristen Wiig is pretty good. Pretty on point. McCarthy's pretty good. And so I was not disappointed. I'd probably see it again. So there you go. Cal Cat's review of the Ghostbusters movie. Yes, no spoilers.